Hello everyone, I've been revisiting the original Tomb Raider this week. Developed by Core Design and released in late 1996, it introduced us to the exciting adventures of Lara Croft. The complete original trilogy has recently been remastered, with new graphics and control options. It's been so long since I've played the original game, and it's been pretty fun to play it again on a portable as well. And not the first time we saw that original trilogy bundled together either. So I thought it might be cool to show off this limited edition set here. Tomb Raider The Trilogy, released in the early 2000s for Windows PC. Kinda hope the remastered editions see a nice physical release like this. I'm number 01757, which number are you? I was always a little jealous of those trapezoid designs for the US Tomb Raider boxes, but this is pretty cool. Some really great artwork here, an embossed logo with Lara front and center, and the back of the box here promises some extra goodies inside. A certificate of authenticity with personal message written from Miss Croft herself. We have all 3 discs neatly bundled in this jewel case and, well, that's another thing about classic Tomb Raider. The blatant sexualization of the character. Kind of embarrassing to look back at now, but admittedly, yes, it did kind of work on a young, immature schoolboy like myself at the time. Come on now, we've all been there. Still, I do love a nice full colour manual, some really great artwork of Lara here. And this huge fold-out map showcasing the many places Lara has been to. Kinda want to stick it on my wall. And finally we have this little IDOS pamphlet. It's an interesting little time capsule. Kinda forget that they did publish Capcom's Power Stone on Dreamcast over here in Europe, and even the PC release of Final Fantasy VIII. A foreshadowing of the company's eventual partnership with Square perhaps. This isn't quite the complete collection of classic Tomb Raider, it is missing those add-on packs. And sadly, no, I don't have access to a working PC anymore, so this is just more of a fun collectible to own. Still, that original game still means so much to me. I remember my dad installing a demo disc on our old computer and I was utterly blown away. This was from a time when fully 3D environments were still a fairly new concept. That unique feeling of being in this huge space where I could freely explore. I'd never felt that sensation in a game before. And just that atmosphere. There was still that memorable piece of music that would play after you reached an area or solved a puzzle. But it was mostly just you and the sound of Lara's footsteps. The sound of a distant door opening, or the growl from the local wildlife that would jump out and attack you. Yeah, Lara kills quite a lot of wildlife in this game. Look, I don't want to see animals die, but it does kind of add to the game's lonely atmosphere. And just seeing that huge T-Rex stepping out of the gloom and giving chase. It was such a haunting experience, and it's something that I feel is lacking from just a lot of the sequels. Lara did appear roughly around the same time as Super Mario 64, and you could say both her and Mario were the early pioneers of 3D adventures. The big point of contention between the two were the controls. Moving Super Mario with the stick felt graceful and fun to move around. Whereas Lara used a more rigid tank control setup. I think of it as playing the game with a D-pad on the controller, and I still stand by the fact that Tomb Raider still has the best swimming controls in a video game ever. I've no idea why more games just don't copy it. The remastered editions appear to be based on those old PC originals I grew up with, so you can save your progress anywhere, unlike the console editions which required you to reach a save crystal. Save scumming is your best friend. I would just be aware that rather annoyingly the remastered defaults to the load option, so just be warned of accidentally loading your save file instead of saving your game. The remastered edition does also include an optional modern control setup if you're just not a fan of those old tank controls. Assigning the guns to the shoulder buttons do work pretty well, and Lara will automatically grab hold of ledges now as opposed to you holding down the action button. There is a bit of a weird dead zone going on which can make some of the platforming sequences feel far more finicky than they actually are. Classic Tomb Raider just feels designed around those tank controls. I would encourage taking the time to learn them, but I can at least appreciate that a more modern control setup has at least been included. I just recommend running around the training mansion to get a feel for the controls and see what setup suits you best.
Thank you. I will.
I should also mention the remastered edition is a totally different experience to that 2007 anniversary remake by Crystal Dynamics. Certainly a good game in its own right, but it took away so much of that original game for me that it feels like a totally different experience. Admittedly, I know I am a little nostalgic towards the classic Tomb Raider trilogy, but aside the way too aggressive difficulty of Tomb Raider 3, I think they still hold up. There's just something about the atmosphere and the level design, or carefully taking your time to line up your jumps correctly. and I still think that original game is my favourite of the series. I really can't think of many other games like it. I think it's worth playing, but the controls are really going to make or break the experience for you. It's down to whether or not you want to put the time into learning how to play. And yes, the remaster does have a few issues. Key items are sometimes obscured by the new art, and I've had to switch back to the old graphics just to find them. There's a sporadic camera, and I've had the odd graphical glitch. But there's really been nothing here that's majorly affected my overall enjoyment, and the Switch performance runs and looks great in handheld and dock mode. Well then, I hope you enjoyed that quick little look at Tomb Raider Remastered. It's been a lot of fun to replay it again. Perhaps in future I can make more videos based on the other Tomb Raider games. I quite enjoyed Lara's adventures on the Game Boy, for example. But until then, thanks ever so much for watching. Take care.